This meeting is being live streamed, I do believe.
It's my first live video ever.
Wow. What do we say now? We're live. Oh, hey, everyone. We are live. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Business and Life Unscripted with
Lisa and Marshall.
Oh, you did it again like last time.
Oh, wait, with
that's
Lisa.
okay.
Okay.
That's okay. That's okay. It's fine.
Good.
All right. How are you doing, Lisa?
Good. How are you?
Good. Yes, as you said, we are streaming live here in the Business Inner Circle today, being Sunday. I always have to look at my clock. November the 14th. What are we talking about today?
Imposter syndrome.
That's a big one.
It is. I think we're all familiar with this one.
How long have you been in business?
Since 2017.
Yeah. So it's funny, I was doing we didn't talk about this before because it's unscripted. So I've had a lot of conversations this past week with, and I hate that term, and if you're out there and seeing my posts, you'll know what I mean, the mumpreneur thing. Which is actually basically business owners who happen to be women who happen to have kids. I don't know who came up with the stupid mumpreneur term, because you're just a business owner. Anyways, who has kids and you're female. But with a few of the conversations, imposter syndrome came up. But not really as known to them as imposter syndrome.
Right.
Right. But more about just their belief about themselves and are they, I don't know, my notes are somewhere around here.
Inner critic.
Inner critic, doubting themselves, right? And seeing other people, worse yet, who also have kids and are doing the juggle and are really successful. Because social media is full of shit, right?
Yes.
There's
We
so
see
much
the
stuff.
highlight reels.
You see the highlight reels.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And I have 5 kids, 6 kids, and I have 5 businesses, and I'm on the parent committee, the PAC or whatever, and I'm on the board of this and this. And how for you? How has I'll answer for myself as well. How has imposter syndrome shown up for you?
Oh, so many ways over so many years at so many times in my life. It's something that I've definitely worked very hard on. And to be totally honest, something that I'm struggling with right now. So it's perfect that we're doing this. I think it's natural. When I started hiring for my business, that was a big one. It was my first time really being in a leadership role, other than just management or sales or anything like that. Yeah, I really had a lot of self-doubt there. Like, can I do this? And that inner critic can get pretty loud sometimes. Right now, in particular, as I've mentioned on previous shows that we've done, I'm making a bit of a career change or career move and working on becoming a coach. And that's, my inner critic has been very strong. I on one level, I know I can help people. I know that I have value to share through my experiences and everything that I've learned along the way. However, we can get these sort of subconscious blocks that keep us from really moving forward with stuff. So that's where it's been most prevalent for me lately.
Well, and we've spoken a lot about this in the past. I think I think there's 2 parts to it. I think imposter syndrome is I don't think it's such a bad thing. In fact,
No.
I think imposter syndrome can be a good thing, because I really truly believe in, if you never face imposter syndrome, I don't think you are stepping out of your comfort zone enough.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
I think where it becomes an issue is when it paralyzes you, when it
Yes.
prevents you from moving forward. So obviously people are going to want to hear some tips and tricks and all that kind of stuff to navigate through imposter syndrome, which we'll talk about. But for you, like currently, like moving into the whole coaching world, when I did it 10 years ago, and throughout, for sure. I mean, it would show up for me, and it's going to show up for you big time. By social media. I mean, you just go out and you see all these people who seem to be uber successful, or they have like amazing looking websites. So one of the tips I want to put out there right now, because I want to talk about this, is it's a reality check.
Yeah.
Right. But what
100%.
I mean, what I mean by that is there's a lot of bullshit out there, a lot of smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
So what is reality? So for example, you can get an amazing looking website that you don't even have to spend much money on it, if any, but that makes you look like you are the most successful person in the world.
Yeah.
And there could be nothing behind it. But what we see on our end, and this happens in the coaching world all the time, what we see on our end is, wow, this person has made, this person's doing really, really well by looking at their website or their social media posts. They're this, they're that. They have this huge team or whatever. I'll never be like that. Who am I?
Mm-hmm. We can even take it further past just social media. I mean, just being in public in general. I mean, there's always, like, we don't show people all the vulnerable sides of ourselves, right? There's certain things that we keep to ourselves or only share with our really close loved ones. So yeah, that it can happen in business and online, but it can really happen anywhere at any time, because we just have to remember that we're the only ones that are with ourselves 24/7. We know everything that's going on. We know all of our thoughts. People aren't going to show that side of themselves to just everyone. And there's certain things that people don't show to anyone. So I think just remembering that we all go through, like you're not alone. And if you need some tough love, hey, you're not special. Everyone suffers. Everyone goes through it. And yeah, reality check, I think is super important to just, if you're aware of that and you can remind yourself of that, it can be really helpful.
Yeah, for sure. So if you're watching, whether it's live or the replay of this, and if you currently or if ever feel the imposter syndrome, we would love to hear from you. Put it in the comments section below saying, yeah, it resonates with me. Because the other thing is, the more people who step up and say, I go through it,
Yeah,
the more we all feel we're not alone.
absolutely.
And that's the weird thing, right? Or the ironic thing is we think we are alone in this. Because first of all, being a business owner, we are alone. We shouldn't be, but in many cases we're alone. We're isolated. Even if we have a team of staff, right? We're still, as the owner, we're alone. So alone in our thoughts, especially.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
But it's amazing, and there's so many digital marketers out there, and God bless you if because you help your clients, but
yeah,
you can only do so much. So here's an example. I've said this before. I think in our Connect and Collaborate years ago, we had creaky floors in our old house, and we needed to get them fixed. My kids were really young, and it was a split level. So every time we went upstairs, it was like 6 stairs or whatever. That's 6 steps, but it was like we'd wake them up. Like, it was horrible. And so there's so much anxiety in the house just at night, because it's like, okay, how are we going to get upstairs? Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was driving it home one day, and being in the sign business, I was coaching at the same time too, but I had my sign business. I noticed this beautiful Ford 150, F-150 wrapped and a trailer behind it. And it was, I'm not going to mention the company name because I always do by accident because of what it said on it, but it was basically a renovation business
Right.
promoting one-day renovations. But it was amazing, the wrap. Like, it was beautiful, caught my eye, right? So I thought, okay, perfect. That's what we need. A one-day renovation kind of company. Because we'd contacted some other companies and they were busy, blah, blah, blah. Truck was beautiful. I thought, these guys are it. Went to the website, amazing website, amazing. Boom. Email, never heard back. Phone call, never heard back. I went to, the first time was the contact form, then it was a phone call, then it was a direct email. I found their email address. Never, ever, ever heard back from them. Smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, maybe we should do one of these on not growing too fast and taking on more than you can handle in your business.
Well, so here's the thing. They obviously had probably a very good marketing agency they worked with.
Yeah.
And so other renovation companies would drive by or go to their website and go, oh, these people haven't made, right?
Yeah.
But then a marketer can only do so much. It has to be on the back end.
Yes.
There has to be the actual person behind it that has the systems in place, the mindset in place, and everything else, whatever. It's smoke and mirrors.
Yeah. Marketing something that you can't follow through on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's one of the big tips I'd give people is just because you see or hear. One other quick example. So in the sign business, again, I can't mention names. I used to be part of a franchise down south. There's this one. This is actually probably the biggest one because this actually got me. I had imposter syndrome because, to a certain degree, or maybe it was more, I'm not like them syndrome, or I'll never be like them syndrome. There's this one franchisee down south that had 11 locations in 3 states. She had her own HR department, her own marketing department, because she had 50 staff or something between all the locations. And everyone in the whole 400 chain franchise thought she was the golden girl. Right. Because she had 11 locations. Everyone bowed to her presence. It was like, I can't mention her name, but anyway, everyone bowed to her, including myself and my then business partner. We actually went down, we spent a week with her because we wanted to model our business after her. We thought she was the greatest thing, right? And we thought, oh, how can we do this, right? So we never really had imposter syndrome, but we had, how could we be like her syndrome?
Very similar. Yeah.
Similar, because it could get to that point.
Yes.
And what we found out, it was all smoke and mirrors. Because she was in debt so badly, she ended up shutting down a handful of her locations and totally screwing the landlords. Right? And the franchisor. So that's where I get to the smoke and mirrors. Just what you see is not necessarily the reality.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I think that it's important to remind, it's a really popular belief that things that we judge in other people are things that we may not feel that we can relate to, that we're not really comfortable with in ourselves. But I think the same is for when you are inspired by someone, or when you admire someone and the work that they've done, or what you perceive that they've done based on their marketing. And I think it's important to remember that if you admire something in someone or what you're seeing, that means that it really is in you. I mean, it's a part of you, because if you like that and you're seeing it, just as when we judge people for seeing parts of ourselves that we don't like, we do the same thing when we admire someone. So you have it in you, is I think something that's also really important to remember when we're looking up to someone.
Excellent point. I never thought of it that way. Very good point. The toque is helping. The toque is really,
it keeps all the thoughts where they need to be.
Okay, so you probably have some of yourself, but I'm going to give just a few tips that I think that really help. So the reality check, give yourself a reality check.
Yeah.
So smoke and mirrors, not what you see is not necessarily the reality. Give yourself a freaking break.
Yeah.
It's a tip, right? Like seriously, like, especially so for all the mums that I spoke to, the mompreneurs, which are really just business people who happen to be female and have kids. Just give yourself a break.
Yeah.
You know, another tip I had written down here, which kind of goes hand in hand with that. Meet yourself. We always hear the story, you know, or I don't know if you ever heard it, like with your customers. Meet your customers where they're at.
Yes, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Meet your customers where they're at. Maybe I said this last week too. Meet yourself where you're at.
Yes.
Right? So not everything has to be perfect. Not everything has to be now. Give yourself a freaking break. It's all about knowing what you want, getting clear on what you want, and building a plan to get there.
Right.
Everyone gets there at different stages.
You're only human.
You're only human. It doesn't have to be perfect. So some people don't even start until it's perfect, right? Because of the whole imposter syndrome holds them back. Oh, I'm not going to put myself out there until I have everything figured out. That's for another conversation.
We could have done that with this podcast, and it probably would have never, or this show would have never happened.
People, this is far from perfect. So exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We went the complete opposite with it.
Exactly. Like,
Jump in.
Yeah, jump in. Just be yourself. Just start.
Yes.
Just do it. But give yourself a freaking break. You're doing it. Celebrate that. Right?
Yeah. Well, on giving yourself a break, I mean, you can take that inner critic and you can utilize it to your advantage, really. Look, it's just a form of stress, is all it is. Stress is inherent in us.
Mm-hmm.
It's self-protection. So I think it's so important to ask yourself the question, am I protecting myself with this, or am I hindering myself? Am I aiming for something like perfection that nothing's perfect? It's not possible to get there. Or am I being fearful? Am I letting this stress, this inner critic, making me afraid to take the next step? So is it serving me or is it not? We can motivate ourselves through fear very easily, but it's not sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's always a place for being a little tough on yourself. Hey, come on, you got to do it. But I think that's different. You know, I think rather than, for lack of a better term right now, feeling sorry for ourselves and thinking, oh, I can't do it, I'm not good enough. Be compassionate. Change it to compassion, right? What would you do if one of your loved ones was going through the same thing? I mean, would you give them words of encouragement, or would you say, oh yeah, you're probably right, you're not good enough, right?
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, some people would say the latter, but yes, I get the point. Yeah, no, for sure. It's really there's so much pressure out there for all of us to business owners or not. Doesn't matter what stage of life you're in. My daughter's in first year university. Like,
yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing. My daughter's in first year university. She decided to stay here. She was going to go away. She realized she wasn't ready. She decided to stay here, local. She sees through social media, and my kids throughout high school, through social media, now people in Western, Queens, McGill, all living the life, right? Living the life of a first year university student. So it becomes imposter syndrome.
Right.
To a certain degree, right? It's also the FOMO, fear. It's fear of missing out.
Right.
But it becomes imposter syndrome. It's like, oh, I could never do that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm here, like, which is nothing's wrong with that. I could never do that. I would like to, but I can never do that. Who am I to even think of doing that? So it shows up with our kids all the time. And social media is the biggest form of, I think social media, if you let it, is the biggest form of bullying.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And we know already all the studies, depression, anxiety, just from social media. If we use it, if we look at it and use it the wrong way. But inner circle, it's one other thing before I forget. Build a strong inner circle. I'll probably say that every week. Anything we talk about. It's so important to build a strong inner circle. And what I mean by an inner circle is surround yourself with people who really believe in you and lift you up. And the people who actually bring you down, really do your best to distance yourself. Or sometimes you can't if it's part of your family. Because I know a lot of people, their parents, like especially if you're trying to be a business owner, your parents aren't going to, mom or your dad or grandparent isn't going to understand what you're doing, and they might not be supportive at all. So in that case, you can't completely distance this family, right? Bring people on your team that really do support you. Surround yourself with other business owners who get it, friends who actually get you and really believe in you. And when you're in those times of imposter syndrome, maybe it's just picking up the phone or a Zoom or a FaceTime call or whatever with a friend or an inner circle someone in your circle, and just saying, this is what I'm going through right now.
Yeah.
Talk me down, right? Talk me out of it.
For sure. Yeah, I think that's so important, talking about the inner circle, because if you really pay attention to the thoughts that you're having when you're dealing with imposter syndrome or your inner critic, you're not born with that. These are experiences that you've had over time that have really sunk in and you've internalized them. It's usually a lesson that, maybe not the best lesson and maybe not the most accurate lesson, that you've learned over time. You've tried something a few times and it didn't work out. And now you've got this message every time you try something similar. And just listening to that and thinking, where does that even come from? That's probably not coming from me. That's probably coming from my experiences. You can't change what goes on around you. You can only change how you react or how you deal with it. So, and another thing with social media too, it's the highlights of people's lives.
Yeah.
They're, oh, look at this fun thing I'm doing, but I'm going to turn off my phone, later go home, and possibly they're crying themselves to sleep. You don't know what's going on in their life, right? They're not going to show you that part.
Well, yeah, and for my daughter, that's what I said to her, like, because I know some of the parents, right, of these other kids, and they're not kids anymore. And I said to her, you don't see what they post. They don't post themselves in their dorm room crying themselves to sleep or missing their family or stressed out because they have all these assignments and they're just overwhelmed because they got to do their laundry, they got to get food, they got to get this, they got to get that, and they're away from their family, right? You don't see that. Right. So, but we subconsciously, we go to what other people are doing.
Yeah.
How are they able to do it and we're not? So another, a simple little tip is be you. Seriously, just there's only one you.
Yeah.
Right? Be you. Like, you don't have to be like, you could take, if you really want to look at competition, if you really want to look at other people who are doing what you're doing, then look at them. Like, seriously, spend time, do your freaking research, look at them, see what they're doing well, and take little pieces from it. And if it's in line with where you want to go and your values and all that, to treat it as a research project.
Yeah.
To improve your own business, not as a, who am I to do that? And the last point I want to make is a tip, really good tip, is be very ego-centered in this moment. Have a brag book.
Yeah, I like it.
So have a little journal, a little brag book of clients you've worked with who you've blown their socks off with, like testimonials, right? Even call up, here's a little exercise I've done with some of my clients, even have them just call up 5 of your, whether it's clients or friends or anyone, and just ask them questions about your character, about you as a person. Just get feedback on you and write it down. And every time a client or a vendor or anyone says something really, really positive for you, have it in your little brag book. And when you're having those moments of doubt, of imposter syndrome, or fear and doubt, self-doubt, limiting beliefs, all that kind of stuff, open up your brag book and just read it. And you'll forget, because you forget it during the day.
For sure. Yeah. You get tunnel vision.
You get tunnel vision, and it brings you back home, brings you back to reality. So it goes back to the first one, which was the reality check.
Mm-hmm.
Bring yourself back to reality. So
I like the brag book. You know me, like I love the journaling, and that's something that I never really, I actually have a similar thing. It's a little different though, that I wrote down.
hey, whatever works for you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Whatever inspires you, whatever works for you. Yeah.
I love how you mentioned be egotistical, because so many people say, oh, the ego's bad. The ego is your personality. So as long as you're trying to work on making your ego healthy, and you're taking that inner critic, and how can we make that more of an ally than an enemy, right? That's healthy ego. Like that's working.
I didn't say egotistical. I said ego-centered.
Oh, well, okay.
But that's okay.
Same, but different. Yeah, so I just think that it's really important to strengthen your ego, right? Make sure it's telling you the right things. Make sure you're telling yourself the right things. My tip here is 3 things to remember, and I think we agree on a lot of these. Allow yourself to admit that it's hard, right? So thing number 1 is, yeah, this is challenging. Yes, it's not easy. I am having a hard time with this. And just admitting that right there kind of can give you the power to deal with it, I guess, in a sense. You can choose what you take from that, right? You can go, this is really hard and I can't do it. Or you can say, this is hard. How can I get over this? How can I challenge this? The second thing I think that it's really important to remember is, again, other people go through it. Your feelings are yours, but other people experience those same feelings and emotions. So it's okay. Like it's not abnormal. You're not alone, and you're not, like you say with social media, you're not seeing that side of everyone. So it is hard to remember that, yeah, you're not the only one who has an inner critic, or who goes, oh, why can't I do that? Or, and the third thing to remember is, what if I either wasn't me and I was talking to myself as another person, or, think of someone that you care about a lot. And I think I already kind of mentioned this. If they were going through something similar, what advice would you give them? What would you give them a hug? What would you do? What would you tell them? How would you be there for them? And try and do that for you.
Great advice.
Thanks. And then I wanted to stick with the 3, but then I couldn't help but write down, ask yourself the question, because the inner critic can protect you. Is this serving me or hindering me?
Yeah.
So in this moment, am I going, that's probably not a good idea. I'm really not actually ready for that. And that's not smart, and then you can choose to build your skills and then go for it. Or is it hindering you? Is it holding you back? Are you making excuses? I think that's such an important thing to ask yourself in these moments. And just, it's so hard to get objective. but it's important.
So that brings up, I forgot this one, and this brings that up, right? Because this is actually something where people have anxiety. This is something that, a tool for them. And the same thing for imposter syndrome or self-doubt, fear and doubt, and all this stuff. And you kind of alluded to it. Simply ask yourself 3 questions. If you're going through anything, limiting beliefs, who am I? Look at them, they're doing all this stuff. Why can't I do it? You know, I'll never be like them. 3 questions. People, everyone in Facebook, write these down. These are really 3 big questions. And
I might write them down.
Follows up. Well, it's kind of what you said, right? Ask yourself this. Do I have proof? Question number 1, do I have proof of your thoughts? Negative thoughts to do with anything that's negative, holding you back. Do I have proof? Question number 1. Are you ready for the second one?
Yeah, totally.
Question number 2 to ask yourself. Do I really have proof? Sorry. Screw this up. Can we rewind? Can we start this back? Sorry.
Yeah, we're live this time.
Question number 1, is this true? Question number 2, is it really true?
Gotcha.
And question number 3, do I have proof? If you really slow down, you know, I love that, right? Slow down in order to speed up. But if you really slow things down, and whether it's anxiety, fear, doubt, imposter syndrome, limiting beliefs, any of it, what did I say? Is it true? Is it really true? Do I have proof? And 9 times out of 10, I'm telling you, if not 10, you don't have proof.
Right. Well, you can convince yourself of anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love that. That's great.
So be the investigator, find out where's the proof.
Mm-hmm. That's a really good way to look at things objectively.
Yeah.
And I'm always saying how difficult it is to do that. And that's a really powerful tool. I like it. I'm probably going to use it.
Yeah, it is. But again, it's like any other tool. We have to use it. Otherwise, it's just a tool book on our bookshelf collecting dust.
Right. Knowledge is power, but it's pretty much useless if you don't apply it, right?
Yeah. And I'm going to give one more. This is a bonus one. And it's just all about, because everything really I'm about. Really remember, or if you don't know what your why is, spend some time and figure out what your freaking why is. Why are you doing this?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Who are you meant to serve? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? What's your why? If it's strong enough, then you look at that and it's like play a game. Do I want to let imposter syndrome win? Or do I want my why to win out?
Right.
Am I here for bigger purpose, right? Mission, purpose. What is bigger? My why or this imposter syndrome?
Right.
Well,
we always come back to the why because it is the foundation of, well, it's your foundation, right? We talked last time about not building your house on sand and all that, or maybe it was the first one that we talked about that in. Now you got me going here. If you look at it like this huge mountain that you have to get over and you're looking way too far ahead, it can be scary.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, of course you're going to go, oh, I can't get there. Well, because you're not looking at all the little building blocks, all the little steps you take to get over that mountain in between. So yeah, slow it down, take it back. And what is one little thing I can do today? Okay, what's one more thing? What's one more thing? And if you just focus on those little things, eventually you'll get there. But if you keep looking too far ahead at this huge picture of how far away you are from it, you can't overnight success. I know there's a lot of people out there who say you can, but you can't. It's reality. You have to put the work in. You have to be realistic.
Yep. Wow. We talked for a long time, don't we?
Did
That's
we?
awesome. Yeah, I think we did. That's awesome. It's
flew by. Okay.
No, that's awesome. There's so much. Do you have something you want to close it out with? Something else?
One more tool, and it's a journal entry because it's just apparently my thing.
Okay, I'm writing it down. Okay, go for it.
Okay, so in the beginning here, I talked a little bit about there's always things that we hide about ourselves, and that might be areas where we're judging people, right? And then areas that, we like to show the world, so if you look at them like opposites, so say you take pride in being independent, so you try to hide any parts of yourself that are needy, or you take pride that you're really driven and motivated, so on days where you really need to self-care, you kind of hide that from the world. If you write down your traits that you like and that you don't like about yourself as if they were opposites from each other, so each one has an opposite, and think about the things that you wrote, the positive things you wrote down, and how they might not be serving you. And you'll see how it correlates with how the parts you're hiding can serve you. Once you make that connection, you can integrate them and sort of balance them out in a sense. So an example would be, okay, I like to be seen as driven, motivated. So I hide, those days where I just really need to stay at home, turn off my phone. If you can integrate those and go, okay, yeah, today I need to stay home and I need to rest. You can allow yourself to do that so you can continue to show up as driven and motivated as you want. Or with the independence thing, right? Maybe not wanting to show a needy side of yourself. Pardon me. Knowing that it's okay to do that sometimes, and it can serve you sometimes, means that you can call up a friend and say, hey, I'm having trouble with this. I need some advice, or I need some help, or I need someone to talk to. So it's kind of like two sides. How can we integrate them?
Awesome. Yeah. Okay.
It's a hard one to do.
It's a hard one. Well, thank you, gang, for watching, commenting, sharing, liking. Feedback is always welcome. In fact, we encourage you to give feedback on what you think and how it shows up for you. We'd love to hear it, how it shows up for you, because we're not alone in this. You're not alone in this. And the more we all step up and say, hey, imposter syndrome, I feel it sometimes, the more I think it'll help others as well.
Absolutely.
Lisa, thank you. Would you like to close us out this week?
Yeah, if you're finding yourself struggling with any of this, or someone who is, please share it with them if you found value. And as for the feedback, Marshall and I are here because it's just in our nature to want to help people move forward, help people cope with all the crap that life throws at you. And constructive criticism even is more than welcome, because the better we can serve people, the better we can provide value. Well, the less imposter syndrome we'll have. We'll feel better about it. And yeah, that's pretty much.
Oh yeah, no, that's all. I mean, if we want to suffer from imposter syndrome and start looking at all the podcasts, we'd be like done. It's like there's just no way. Like my daughter watches this one podcast. They spent, I think, like $1 million on a new set, and they're on like 5 days a week, or actually 6 days a week, and it's like a serious podcast. Like $1 million on their set, right? You can see we didn't spend $1 million on our set.
No.
I spent $30 on these Apple, earphones, or what do you call it, earbuds.
I picked up this desk off the side of the road for free.
So that's us. You get what you see.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You get what you see. All right. Till next week.
Till next week. Thank you for your time.
All right, everyone. Have an amazing week, and we'll see you next week. Bye, Lisa.
Bye, Marshall.